Pittsburgh Steeler fans, hey, how are you? I don't know how many Tylenols you have had to drop down your gullet because of the Pittsburgh Steelers crushing win against the Baltimore Ravens yesterday. But welcome once again to the Steelers Hangover. It's the only show that gives you 24 hours or so to digest the win or loss and decide how you're feeling. Usually after a Steeler win, we're elated. And I got to tell you, I'm still elated. But there's plenty of concerns now because of the nature of the win yesterday and the loss of Bud Dupree. But before we get into any of that, Tony Defio, how are you, my friend?
I am fantastic. And for everybody out there in the live chat, wish Brian a happy birthday. Today's his big day, a special day.
Yeah, the last year of my 40s, dude. So I turned 49 today. Thank you so much, Tony. And my friends and family have been all over me today. It's been fantastic. I have had an awesome day. My BTSC family, I've had BTSCers send me messages, Cree and Knapp and my BTSC staff and family. Everybody, Jeff made me feel really good by saying that I'm 39 today. So thanks for knocking 10 off, Jeff. I appreciate that. But everybody who's wished me a happy birthday, I really love all of you, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. We're a family together, so let's do this. Tony, how you feeling today after that, what we like to call a crushing win?
Yeah, I didn't mind I don't really care about style points, really. I mean, you're going to have ugly games every now and then, although I didn't expect yesterday to be as much of a struggle as it was. But that just came down to a lack of execution. I mean, all those drops. But the Bud Dupree part, that's the part, if they would have lost and he would still be healthy, I think I would feel pretty bad about the loss. But I think in the long run, that I'd be okay. But yeah, losing Bud Dupree is a big deal.
That's the only reason I'm calling it a crushing win, because I could tell you what. And I want to bring this up first. It's Gyro, and I love this quote here. It's, I hate ugly wins so much because I can't stand people calling this team frauds. I agree with you, Gyro, 100%. But let me throw this in. They're not frauds if they keep it going. Right. And this is a team that's found a way to keep it going. As ugly as they played, the 2018 Steelers, the 2019 Steelers definitely, but let's talk about teams with Ben Roethlisberger on that team. The 18, the 17, the 16 teams that went pretty far in some senses. The 2018, maybe not as much. Here's the deal. They would have wilted like a cheap suit or an old flower. They really would have. Right. But in this scenario, they still found a way to do it. Ben throws an ugly pass. James Washington fought for it. Combat catcher, Grandpa Strong, absolutely love it. But when Gyro says that I hate ugly wins because of people calling them frauds, I get that. But guess what? Colin Cowherd, suck it. You could call this team a fraud all you want, and he did today. A Pittsburgh guy that with an alliterative name that used to be in professional wrestling that I won't mention his name. He was on him today too, because he wasn't as bad. He really wasn't as bad. But there's a lot of concerns out there. And I got to tell you, we've got a lot of concerns for a team that's 11-0, but let's whoop it up for 11-0, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're probably never going to see this again, at least not for many years. But the great thing about it is, and I keep saying this, is it's not like college football or anything. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks. If they keep winning, then they're going to be the Super Bowl champs. So people can call them frauds all they want. At the end of the day, they just have to keep winning, and they'll be Super Bowl champs. And if they want to call them the Super Bowl champion frauds, that's fine too. Who cares?
You know what? I love the fact that there's a chip on their shoulder. I love the fact that Mike Tomlin comes out and says, yeah, the reason for that, because of our sucking. I love our sucking. That's great. I love Ben more and more when he, first of all, he kept his helmet on during the interview.
Ooh, and he was mad. He was mad.
I thought that was funny. The helmet was on. He threw out He threw out a dig at the Ravens, threw out a dig at Roger Goodell. I loved it. But he said we sucked. I don't think Ben sucked that bad yesterday. The interception wasn't great. I know he missed Derek Watt, but you know what? I can't go that fast and make a decision. I'll tell you that. But when they have a chip on their shoulder, and when you say that they can't do something, especially Ben Roethlisberger, yeah, they do it. So 11-0, this is rarefied air. Remember, 7-0 was tying a record. They're 11-0 now.
Right.
And I love the fact that there's still a whole lot to prove and they're not in cruise control, because there may have been everything that Mike Tomlin and Ben Roethlisberger said was not for us. I'm telling you that wasn't for you, me, anybody in the live chat, the media. No, that was for the receivers, the running game, the defense, which I don't think the defense was that bad. They gave up 2 ugly plays, but that's 2 ugly plays too many. I get that.
Right.
But it was for the team to say that this isn't good enough. So that makes me wonder what's going on. Are people going in cruise control? I'm wondering if a guy like Stephon Tuitt, if somebody got a hold of his phone, I mean, really, because I didn't expect anything like that. You can't look past any team. The Baltimore Ravens came to play, and that would have been a landmark win if they would have won that game. So, I love the fact that there's leaders on that team that's saying it's not good enough. Juju even said not good enough.
Right.
And for Juju, the fun guy, I call him the mushroom because he's the fun guy. Get it?
Right.
Yeah. Bad joke. Dad joke is what it is. But Juju's saying it's not good enough. So this is a good wake-up call for the team. The tough thing is you've got something to overcome now with Bud Dupree being gone, and that's a killer. The question is, and we're going to talk more about that later. Let's go ahead and grab some super chats here, and I'm going to thank everybody. Sasquatch. We've got some Canadian dollars. What do we call Canuck bucks? That's it. Canuck bucks. If Washington has a breakout game, can we please call the Washington no names the Washington James? Also, happy birthday. Thank you for the $5, Sasquatch. The Washington James. I like that. We also have another super chat here from I'm going to let you call him that. It's from Snowman. I'll let you read this one. And what's your nickname for him? Because I love it.
He's our resident Robin Masters, Magnum PI, the guy with the money. He's our happy birthday, old man, from an older one. And I don't know, 49. To me, I don't think 49 is old anymore. Maybe 10 years ago, I thought that.
But I feel great. And I'm what, a month older than you, Tony?
May. My birthday will be in May.
Okay, so I'm about 6 months older than you.
Yeah.
And I feel awesome. And all these people, thank you so much. Jack Bauer says this. And if it's Jack Bauer from 24, a show that I found out the other day that Tony has never watched, Tony has got to watch 24. So if this is Kiefer Sutherland in disguise as Jack Bauer, I love this. All of this talk is going to fire the team up. Yes, that's what I'm saying. The chip on the shoulder, let it grow and say, all right, we're going to be 12-0 next. We're going to be 13-0. It's not going to be easy. All right?
Right.
Not going to be easy. But obstacles have always made Mike Tomlin and Ben Roethlisberger better, Tony. Do you agree?
Yeah. I mean, look, they have to keep winning anyway because they have the Chiefs running game behind them, and if they want to get that lone bye, they got to keep winning and get the best record. Obviously, if it's 16-0, it has to be 16-0. So, people could talk all they want about how they're frauds and they're overrated, but you don't get to be 11-0 in the NFL if you're a fraud. It just doesn't. The league's too tough for that. If they were a mediocre football team, they wouldn't be getting lucky week after week. Eventually, somebody would jump up and bite them, and it would be more than one team that would jump up and bite them.
2 tiers in a bucket to those people is what I say. Wes Hickok, I love this. For the people saying we can't beat KC, have they forgotten we beat them in 2019 without Ben by 2 scores? Yes. They have forgotten that. Also, have they forgotten? Was it without Ben?
I don't think they didn't play them last year. They didn't play the Chiefs last year.
Well, 2018 or 2017 in the playoffs.
Oh,
And they beat KC when they were 6-0. They know how to beat KC.
right.
And remember, KC is a great offense. And losing Bud Dupree hurts. However, KC doesn't run the ball either. Steelers don't run the ball. KC doesn't run the ball. And KC almost lost to Carolina. If Carolina doesn't go for two-point conversions,
Right.
they win that game.
Right.
If they had 30 more seconds, they're going to tie that game. KC can go down too. Nobody's perfect in this league. But the team with the perfect record right now is the team everybody's calling a fraud. Let them call us frauds. And hey, guess what? We'll show them.
Right. Well, the Dolphins in 72, I think they had one of the worst opponents winning percentages, but nobody talks about that. All they talk about is the 17-0. History's not going to remember the schedule. They're just going to remember what they did.
Okay, here's something that's blowing my mind. I'm just going to put this up here. We're not going to talk about this. We'll talk about this later. But I want to bring up Dave Shipley here because I don't want to lose this. Red James Harrison had a physical today. Not at the complex, though. So we'll talk about that more when we talk about Bud Dupree. That's a fun thing to talk about as well. But what I want to talk about what I want to talk about now with you, Tony, and with everybody here. I could ask you the question, but the glaring thing that changed this game completely was 10 drops yesterday that I counted.
Yeah. It came down to execution, yeah.
Ben Roethlisberger threw an interception, but here's the thing. The interception ended up not killing him, right?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Because you don't get Joe Hayden without it. So that's, we got to think about that. But what we really need to think about here is the fact that Ben Roethlisberger was 36 for 51. You give him 8 of those drops back.
Right.
Heck, let's give him 5 of those drops back. He's 41 for 51. If you get 8 of those drops back, he's 43 for 51. That's an amazing day.
And it's probably a blowout.
So the question for this show, Tony, the title is your Steelers glass half empty or half full?
It's 11-0. It has to be half full. Again, I'm concerned about Bud Dupree, really concerned about him because I think it's not a mistake or a coincidence how well this pass rush has been since he came back into the lineup in 2016 after being out. But I'm overall glass half full. Again, it just you're going to have that game was such a. It was all over the place as far as the scheduling. You didn't know if it was going to play. And Roethlisberger even said during his press conference, or at least with the when he was talking to Michelle Tafoya, it's hard to stay focused. It's hard to stay intense when you don't know if the game's going to be played or not. When the game keeps getting moved. So my glass is half. How could it not be with 11-0?
All right. Felicia says, "Okay, Tony, you're bad. Can we talk about Pittsburgh clinches playoff berth with Pitt win or a tie or a Las Vegas loss or a tie or a Miami loss or a tie or an Indy loss or a tie?" We could, and I'll bring that up so everybody can see that. We can talk about that. But I got to tell you, playoffs are in the rearview mirror for me.
Right.
At this point, all I care about is a Pittsburgh win to go 12-0 because that's going to take care of it. I mean, some of these teams are going to play each other. It's going to happen. These teams aren't going to win out because if we need somebody to lose to get in at this point, that means we're an 11-5 team. I don't want to watch the playoffs at that point. I'm going to, but now to that point though, let's talk about the last team to go 13-0 to win the Super Bowl. Do you know who that is?
Was it the Colts? 2009?
They beat the Colts. The team that beat the Colts in 2009. The Colts went 13-0.
Oh, the Saints. That's right. The Saints the Saints were the other team that started out strong. I forgot about that.
What was the record that the Saints finished with that year, Tony?
I believe they lost their last 3 games. Am I correct?
They did, yeah.
Yeah.
13-3.
Right.
13-3, excuse me. So, that to me is telling you that, sure, Pittsburgh could go ahead and lose some games, but we don't want them to. I'll give them 2 at the most.
Right.
But at this point, I think this team could go 15-1. I think this team could go 16-0 because of what I keep telling you before, the maturity. Now, some immaturity was shown yesterday, but nothing that can't be cleaned up. Eric Ebron, you're going to get some drops. Ray McLeod, we knew there was a fumble in him. I'm glad it's out of there.
Right.
All right. Deontay Johnson not fumbles. Deontay Johnson drops a lot of passes, but he does a lot. He's averaging maybe 1 drop a game, but if you could get him to hold on more, Juju needs to start holding on some balls more. When Juju's accountable, when Ben Roethlisberger is accountable and Mike Tomlin's accountable, and those are the leaders of your team, I don't care that Juju just turned 24. He's a leader. Mike Tomlin said it on the pregame show yesterday. He's a leader in that locker room. People want to live by Juju. They want to know his address, the new guys.
Mm-hmm.
Want to know where he lives because he is a locker room leader and they trust him. And when Juju comes out and said, bad game, we got to play better. That tells me that takes this cup of mine and overflows it.
Right.
I'm telling you what, there's things to worry about. We're going to worry. And I've said this on the preview before. If your significant other, whether your husband or your wife, is beautiful and you love them so much, what do? Do you try not to screw it up, or do you try to make it wonderful life?
Oh, you just try to make it better. You always try to get one step ahead of the other.
Because if you try not to screw it up, what's going to happen?
You're going to screw it up.
You might drive them away. So if the Steelers try not to lose, they're going to lose some games. If the Steelers go out with a mentality that, hey, I don't care that the Saints are 1 game behind us, we are going to take care of our business. And guess what? They've done it so far. They've taken care of business. So if they continue to do that, they are going to have a beautiful season. They're not going to screw it up. But if you try, we got to make sure we don't mess this up. Right. And that's our mentality, because our mentality, and we're not wrong to have this mentality, because when you love something so much and you want something so bad, you don't want to lose it.
Right.
But here's the thing. If you're like, if I do my thing, we're not going to lose it. If I go out and I work on making this great, we're not losing it. So that's it. John Knox says this, Tony. Oop, I keep losing it. So please excuse me. Bad fingers here. So if all goes as currently listed, Tuitt will be back, but not Pouncey or Connor. Here's the thing about Connor, and I have, not Connor. Here's the thing about Pouncey, and I have not seen the injury report yet. And here's the thing about Connor. He needs 10 days. This happened on a Friday. So is he okay? Could he possibly be okay for Monday?
That's right on the fringe. Yeah. He's right at the line.
Because he went the same day as Tuitt also. He went on the same day as Tuitt.
Yeah.
Pouncey, do we know this? And you can help me in the live chat because I haven't seen the injury report. Has he officially tested positive, or is he a contact tracer?
He's a contact tracing.
He's contact tracing?
Yeah, they didn't say last I heard anyway.
Okay.
So I think is that different than I think it's something positive, right? Yeah,
that's 5 days because remember Ben was a contact tracer on a Tuesday morning, or maybe a Monday night, and then he was back to play on Sunday.
Yeah,
there you go. Dusk Thunder says this: Steelers always play well after games like this. The only thing that I want to say about that, yeah, they do, and the only thing I want to say, though, is I heard somebody mention it a couple of weeks ago, and I've adopted it. I've stolen it. It's this. Tony, you're a hockey fan, right?
Not really.
Well, you like the Pens, though, right?
I like the Penguins, yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm a hockey fan. I love the Penguins. When they play the Philadelphia Eagles, and this is my own analogy. I'm bringing this up. This is not what I stole. When they play the Philadelphia Eagles, the Penguins never play the Philadelphia Eagles. When they play the Philadelphia Flyers, they could beat them in a playoff series, but they're beat up and they're broken the next week. I mean, the next series.
Right.
You've noticed that, right?
Oh, yeah. That's probably the most vicious rivalry of any Pittsburgh sports team.
So when the Steelers play the Baltimore Ravens, this is what I stole. One of the best teams in football is the team that plays the Steelers the following week.
Right.
We saw that with the Dallas Cowboys.
Exactly.
The Dallas Cowboys played better. Steelers still found a way to beat them. If the Pittsburgh Steelers go in and try not to lose this game and go in winning this game, saying enough is enough, boys, let's go looking for dinner, they're going to be in good shape. And notice I didn't quote the program there. I just quoted the end of it because I don't want to offend anybody, because we're not putting anybody to bed here. The whole family could go looking for dinner. All right. And that's what they can do as a team. What we're going to do right now, Tony, we're going to go ahead and take a break. If you are hanging out on YouTube, stick around. We're not going anywhere. Just take a sip of something. If you're checking us out on any of our family of podcasts, what we're going to do, we're going to ask you to go ahead and download number 2 of The Hangover. It'll take you a jiffy. It's that fast. And then you'll be back with us right after this. Welcome back to the Steelers Hangover. It is my birthday. And the only reason I'm bringing it up, because Tony brought it up, and you guys have made me feel wonderful. The Steelers gave us a gift yesterday. They won. We're complaining about it, but they won. The Steelers are 11-0. I feel great. And I got to tell you, I'm not this glass. It's half full. In fact, it's ready to overflow, and I'm feeling awesome. So I got to tell you, I've never seen the Steelers 8-0, 9-0, 10-0, 11-0. I'm hoping to see them 12-0, and I believe that they can be 12-0 without Bud Dupree, without Devin Bush, without Zach Banner. I believe that this team has the mentality and the maturity to do it. We're going to talk about Bud a little bit more, and we're going to answer your questions as well. So get ready to throw in some questions. Rodney Jordan says, but we lost Bud. And I am crushed because I have never badmouthed Bud. I bought a Bud jersey right away.
Mm-hmm.
Bud's one of my older current jerseys. And I love Bud Dupree. And a lot of people have said that this might make life tougher for TJ Watt, who I think right now is the defensive player of the year, despite guys like Myles Garrett and Aaron Donald, just because of all the hurries and the pressures and the hits that he's leading by a mile in those categories. And now he's leading in sacks. The only thing he doesn't have is the forced fumbles. But my question to you, does this kill TJ Watt's chances? Not for the defensive player of the year, but kill his chances of dominating on the field of play each and every week for the Steelers?
Well, I thought maybe it would have at first, but our own Jeffrey Benedict kind of talked me off the ledge on that last time. We were talking on our Slack channel. He said, "How do you double team TJ Watt when Stephon Tuitt is just feet away from him on the line?" So, I think they're obviously going to try to do that, but I think they're other teams initially, but they're going to be in for a rude awakening with guys like Hayward and Tuitt, and who knows if Highsmith is if he's any kind of a rookie. I mean, we've seen so much from this rookie class so far. We've been blessed really with this rookie class. So maybe from Dotson, obviously Claypool. So maybe Highsmith is the next guy in line to really step up and shine. And if you're going to leave him one-on-one, maybe he can do some damage as a rookie.
So here's the thing too. You're going to see plenty of Highsmith. You're going to see plenty of Ola Adeniyi. Now, last year, if this happens, you see plenty of Anthony Chickalo.
Right.
The last couple of years, that's what you're going to see. They have upgraded with that pick of Highsmith in the 3rd round, with keeping Ola Adeniyi. Hey, here's another guy I want to talk about. Everybody's talking about, we saw it earlier. We saw somebody mention that James Harrison could come back. He took a physical today. I'm not going to. Stranger things have happened. He looks like a beast on that FanDuel commercial. Right. And you know how he works out like crazy. I don't know if he could come back at this point. Hey, it doesn't cost to ring a cell phone and say, hey, come on in, let's see what you look like. But I don't know if it's going to happen. People are talking about Clay Matthews. Let me talk about a guy that I think is a guy that you reach out to. Jayrone Elliott. And guess where Jayrone Elliott's right now? He's on your team. He could play inside and outside. He has got an opportunity to help this team. But he doesn't have to come in and start. That's the thing. You've got Highsmith, who's a rookie that's going to get some help because TJ Watt's on the team. You just mentioned Stephon Tuitt's on the team. And then you've got Elliott and Ola Adeniyi, and we know Ola Adeniyi can get to a quarterback. So Kyle Smith gives us $5. Thank you so much, Kyle. He's still going to take Harrison over Jayrone Elliott. But here's the thing. If James Harrison comes in, he's not starting. He's really not, Tony.
No.
And I don't think he's coming in. Asiatic Noble, whose birthday is at the end of the week, he mentioned, also says Harrison's in tip-top shape. Yeah, this guy's always going to be in tip-top shape. I talked about that FanDuel commercial. He's getting ready for movies too, and his body and his look and his persona is going to get him movie roles. Would I put a helmet on him and pads and say, Devo, come on back? Yeah, I would. John Knox says, but he's not going to come in as a starter. He would not get a lot of time, but sure, he could help a team. John Knox says, Deebo didn't leave under the best of circumstances. I doubt Mike Tomlin wants to go backwards. There's a funny thing about that. The best circumstances, stuff gets cleaned up in a hurry. Especially if you lay it out on the table. Look, you aren't going to get a lot of snaps. You might get 5 or 6 snaps a game if something happens that these younger guys that have been here the whole time aren't better. Maybe you get more. Sure. But Andrew Sybeck says, bringing Harrison, we should bring back Tommy Maddox for good quarterback depth. I love it. People are saying, yeah, he's not in football shape. People are mentioning, Rod L mentions Apollo said he was in shape in Rocky IV. You know what? That's where it doesn't hurt to pick up the phone and say, hey, we'll talk to you. It's still a long shot. We'll talk to you. But really what you need is Highsmith and Ola.
Right.
That's what you need. Brian B. Low Crowley says that. They'll do fine opposite TJ. I fully believe that.
Yeah, they're going to
go ahead.
No, they're gonna get a chance to beat some one-on-ones, you would think, because they're gonna try to double team TJ Watt at least initially. So they're gonna get their chances. I mean, they both have great pass rushing skill sets and instincts. It's just a matter of can they put it all together at the pro level. So they're certainly going to get ample opportunity now. Both of them, I would say probably Highsmith at first. He's going to get the majority of the snaps at first, I would say, and then Ola is going to back him up. But who knows? Maybe if all the flashes, maybe he becomes the starter. You just don't know.
Dallas Quinley says Moats, as in Arthur Moats. Love that guy. But you know what? I'm not looking for bringing a guy off the couch right now. I mean, hey, like I said, doesn't hurt to make a phone call. What kind of shape are you in? But the guys that they have on this roster, being Elliott, mostly Highsmith, and Adeniyi, those are the guys that are going to get most of the time. You're going to have to bring someone else in on the roster. You're going to have to have at least 4 outside linebackers, and you've got the 4. You might want to have a 5th.
Right.
Okay. I don't know if a guy on the couch, a guy that is not in football shape, and Snowman mentioned that earlier, is the way to go. But like I said, I have no problem picking up the phone and saying, hey, it's a long shot, but let's take a look at it. But what I want to remind you of is something that's happening to the team right now. And it's this. Avery Williamson. Now, look, I know, don't start with he's an inside linebacker. I'm not talking about putting him on the outside. Avery Williamson came in 9 days in, and he's having trouble seeing the field. And the reason I'm bringing that up, he got some action yesterday. He got more, and you're going to see more of him as we go. But anybody that comes into the system this late in a season from being with another team or being on a couch is not going to see a lot of action. If Avery Williamson was on the team at the very beginning of this season, he'd be seeing tons of action right now. He's a fantastic player. He's really good. But it's hard to come in and break in now. When they brought him over at the trade deadline, everybody knew it was going to be very hard for him. So that's why I'm bringing up Avery Williamson.
Good point. That's a very good point. Yeah.
So, he's going to benefit the team because he's been here, but he's been here a month now. The problem is you bring someone in, whether it be everybody wants those names,
right? But
it's
always the names,
and we do it. We always everybody talks about those names.
Mm-hmm.
We've heard Terrell Suggs being brought up. We've heard of course, Clay Matthews. We've heard of these guys that are out of football and available. And by the way, I want to say this: J.J. Watt's not available.
Right.
If J.J. Watt got cut tomorrow, he'd never make the Steelers. And he's not an outside linebacker. He's a defensive lineman. So everybody wants J.J. J.J. could be a Pittsburgh Steeler in the future, in 2021, 2022. It's not going to happen in 2020. It can't. Because somebody's going to take him. Yeah, right now, Pittsburgh's 32 on the waiver wire.
Right. Someone's
grabbing him. It's not going to, it's not going to be, and he's not getting cut either. They're not cutting this guy. So just don't hope for that because it can't happen. That's all I'm going to say about that. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to hope that the Steelers and the next man up mentality works. And I'm laughing because Bry 160701, who I think that we're related somehow because we're both BRYANs. Mm-hmm. And he brought up Brian Hinkle, one of my favorite Steelers. I know you love Brian Hinkle too.
Oh yeah, I love Hinkle, Merriweather, all those guys back in the old days.
Mike Merriweather.
Yeah, right.
You know what? Hey, let's see, Lauren Tays. We can bring back Lauren Tays.
Wow, that's really
in his 70s. Yeah, I love that guy. He was with that team for 10 years, 11 seasons actually.
Yeah, I didn't know he was there that long. I was surprised that he was on the first Super Bowl team.
Yeah, he was great. Greg Lloyd, we can give Greg Lloyd a call. Kevin Green, Chad Brown, we'll give him a call. Dennis Dirt Winston, we can do all that. But I got to tell you, this team is still a special team. And we've just got to remember that. And so where's Peasy? Yep, Peasy's another guy. People were wanting to bring back Lawrence Timmons this year. Yeah, these guys. It sounds beautiful. It sounds like a great movie, but it's just not going to happen now. But what we've got to hope for with the Steelers is that they've got the next man up mentality, and it works. Right. And the guys that have been in the system are going to be hungry. They're going to work in the system and make it work. That's the thing about this team. If you lose one of the receivers, you've got other guys that are going to step up. Do you think right now, if you lost Juju Smith-Schuster, which would be horrible right now to lose him down the stretch, do you think James Washington would come in and make some huge plays? He did last year.
Yeah, absolutely. I do. That's what's so great about this receiving corps. As bad as they were yesterday, James Washington came out of nowhere and made the play of the day. So
he saved that game.
Right. So yeah, they would. That's just a great thing about depth, and that's what we're going to find out with these young outside linebackers that are going to be opposite TJ. Now we're going to see what they're made of.
So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask you to start throwing in your questions. We've got about 5 minutes left on this show. And while we do that, I'm going to ask Tony this. Why is your Steelers glass, half full right now?
Well, it's half full because they've had such a tough time this year with scheduling. They've been kind of jerked around. They certainly were this past week and a half. And they're 11-0, and the only thing that I've been saying, people are worried about the running game. It's going to come down to the execution with the short passing game. And yesterday they just didn't execute, and you're not going to see it. In my opinion, I don't think you're going to see another game where you have that many crucial and easy drops. So as long as they continue to do their thing, they're going to be fine. Are they going to go 16-0? I don't know, but I think this team, to say this team is a fraud, is ridiculous. This is one of the best years I've ever witnessed since I've been following sports, and I can't believe it's happening with everything else that's happening. That they have to deal with. That's not football related. It's just an amazing thing, and again, the injuries are a concern, but 11-0 is 11-0.
Rod L asks, can Beast Mode replace Samuels? Nah, we don't need him. Really don't. What was your thoughts on Benny Snell Jr. yesterday?
I thought he ran hard later in the game. I don't think they ran probably as much as they should have, considering what was going on with the Ravens on the defensive line. But as I said, I've said repeatedly, Ben he's going to want to throw. That's his MO. He's going to want to do it. Usually most quarterbacks of his experience and pedigree, they just want to throw the ball a lot. So I wish they would have tried to run more. I think they may have scored one or two more times in the red zone. But hey, again, it comes down to executing that short passing game, and if they can do that the rest of the year, they'll be fine.
Nap 1963, my Johnstown compatriot. Glass half full because the single most important Steeler is healthy Ben Roethlisberger. There you go. Yeah, and you just said it too with the running game. Ben Roethlisberger's going to win for this team. Tony, do they sign a free agent linebacker?
I think they do, just for depth. I don't know if it's going to be one of the names. And I think they're obviously more dialed in than we are. So they probably have an idea of they probably have a whole list of people that they're thinking of, and maybe people that we're not even aware of. That they're going to bring in. Yeah, but I think that you're going to have to bring in somebody for depth. As you said, you got to have four, maybe five outside linebackers at this point, especially with a guy like Highsmith, it's his rookie year, so he's not used to playing, and Ola has been he's one of your top special teams guys, so you're going to have to bring somebody else in for depth.
Richard McKinney asks, so how about moving a DB to fill a void at OLB? You just can't right now because of the trade deadline. That's a good thought. That's why you kind of knew when the Bush thing happened that they were going to go after another inside linebacker, and they didn't have to move a DB, but if there was someone out there that they could have, yeah. If the trading deadline was not over, they'd probably consider that. But that can't happen now, but it's a good thought. Wes says if we can put up over 30 points with playing imperfect defense and turning the ball over, there isn't anyone, including KC, that can stop our game. Stay tuned for the playoffs. I love that, man. I really do.
Yeah, and it's like I think it was, I forget, one of the live chat people said, it's just a matter of being hot at the end. I mean, these seasons, it's almost like they go in in quarters, and the team that you see in November sometimes isn't the team you see by the end of December. So it's just a matter of playing right at the right time.
Let's go rapid fire now. Dallas asks, how does Tomlin get the offense to play better, Tony?
Execution.
Dusk Thunder 9, were you impressed by Anthony McFarland in the limited reps he was given in the Ravens game?
I mean, I need to see more.
I definitely was. I lost everything here. Nathaniel says, what do you think about on the future getting another great safety and moving Edmonds to a MLB hybrid?
I thought we'd see more Sean Davis by now, so I don't know. Maybe that's probably not in their future, or it's probably not in their plans at this point.
Keith Dawson asked, when Dotson went in at left guard and Filer back to his original right tackle spot, the running game clicked a bit. You guys like that move?
I like both Filer and Dotson. So I mean, I think they have such a talented line overall that they can do a lot of those. They could be versatile. So I just like the fact that they're versatile.
You know, that's the thing too, because when Dotson's in, they run the ball well. So that's something to look at too. Looks like we've got a super chat here, and I can't absolutely get it up, but it's from there. It is Matt Stofko, another Johnstown buddy. What is the most ACL injuries any NFL team has dealt with in one season? I do not know that answer. That's a good thing. You know who that's a great question for?
Dave.
That's a stat geek question. Matt Stofko, we will put Dave Schofield, co-editor Dave Schofield, on that question. I think that's great. I mean, we're looking at 3 right now with this team. I'm sure there's been more.
And it doesn't mean anything, but remember when the Steelers lost to the Packers in the Super Bowl 10 years ago, the Packers had a lot of players on the injured reserve list at the end of the year, and they still managed to go all the way. So it's not the end of the world, but it's just a concern.
So Tony, your final thoughts. Let's talk everybody off this ledge. Let's overflow this Steelers cup and find the silver lining.
If you can win, if you can play as ugly as they did yesterday and still find a way to win against your top rival, even though your top rival was compromised, to me that says something. And yeah, you're missing Bud and Devin Bush, but it's still a great overall defense. I think it might not be as good, but I think it's gonna be still very good and good enough to win.
I agree with that wholeheartedly, Tony. I'm going to wrap everything up by answering a few questions here. Steeler Nation 412 says, can you beat the Bills and the Colts and still come out of the AFC? Yeah, we can. And Black and Gold Goggles says, do you think we need to run behind Watt more? I think there's going to be some more opportunities for that to happen if he's more healthy. The thing about that, though, is Ben is making this work with throwing 50 times a game. And it's absolutely incredible to watch, as Collinsworth brought it up yesterday, how fast he's leading the league. These next gen stats are really cool.
Right.
But he's leading the league in getting the ball out in like 2.5 seconds.
Yeah.
And he's fast and it's crisp and he's looking good. So with that being said, Tony, my glass is overflowing. This team's 11-0. They get up for teams like the Buffalo Bills and the Colts. They get up for those teams. They're going to get up for the Washington football team too. And the reason being is because everybody is half empty right now. And you're not wrong to be half empty.
Yeah.
But this is Tony and Brian saying, don't worry.
Yeah.
This team has the heart to do it and the maturity to do it.
Right.
So, Tony?
No, it is kind of amazing to see everybody dumping on them. I mean, not the fans being concerned, just like nationally. Oh, I can't believe, and I think that's good for them because nobody's talking about can they go undefeated. They're just saying, well, this is an overrated football team. So they're not even worried about making history. They're just worrying about themselves and improving and trying to, as you said, if they all do their part, then they're going to be okay.
16-0 is not the goal if 16-1 is possible.
Right.
19-0 is the goal. Heck, it could be 20-0 this year.
Exactly.
If something, I don't think that's going to happen. I think only 7 teams are going in the playoffs. But guys, girls, this is a fantastic season. They want to keep it going. They're going to do everything they can to keep it going. And let's stay positive. Because remember, when you try to lose that girlfriend or boyfriend or wife or husband, when you try not to lose them, you push them away. When you do everything in your power to make life beautiful in that relationship, you're going to flourish.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what I've learned in my lifetime. I'm divorced once, but the second time around, the starter marriage didn't work. The second marriage is working great because I'm following that advice.
Because the key word is learned. You learned it.
Yeah, yes, you definitely learn. And when everything seems, when you seem like everything's going wrong and you lose a guy like Bud Dupree and you look bad against a JV Ravens team, you know what happens? You look at it and you learn from that. So Tony says learn. Yeah, you learn.
Right.
So just me. Guess that's why I'm single. LOL. That's funny. There's time for everybody.
Exactly.
Me, I waited till I was 35 to have kids. So there's time for everybody. Some of us bloom later. The Steelers are 11-0. They haven't bloomed yet. That's the best thing about it, Tony. They haven't bloomed yet.
Right. And the great thing about the sports is it's the best reality TV show, as far as I'm concerned. You just don't know what's going to happen with an Alex Highsmith. You don't know where what kind of player he can be. I'm not saying he's Bud, but you just don't know. And that's the great thing about it. We're about to find out.
I tell you what, Piper Lillard Cowett, thanks for the comment. Steelers suck. And if the Steelers suck, then I want to suck too. So,
Amen.
11-0 sucks. That's awesome.
Right.
I love it. So with that being said, and thanks for the comment, and thanks for checking out the show too. With that being said, for Tony Defio, my name is Brian Anthony Davis. Thank you all for making my 49th birthday pretty awesome. Tony, thanks for bringing it up. I was going to keep that quiet, but you guys have all made me feel great. I've got a birthday dinner to go to, and I got to tell you, 157 of you, almost 200 a little earlier on the show, you guys made me feel awesome. And Piper just said, nice show. Thanks, Piper. I appreciate you. And I appreciate all of you. So with that, for Tony Defio, my name is Brian Anthony Davis, B-A-D, if you're nasty, like Janet Jackson would sing. Well, something like that. Miss Jackson, if you're nasty. So for Tony, I'm BD. And just when you think you've got all of the answers,
we keep changing the questions.
11-0. We'll see you, friends.